To give you some context on what they're going to talk about, Saturday night this week, we had our first, well, I can say first annual. Can I say first annual? Okay, good. Our first annual farm to table event at Bullitt Central High School, where it was a collaborative effort of many different pathways, and you're going to hear all about that from our kids. But we effectively served 300 meals that were food that was raised and harvested by our students through our programs at Bullitt Central High School. So without further delay, I'm going to turn it over to our kiddos.
So I'm Erin Usher, I'm Assistant Superintendent, and so we have been on the Deeper Learning Journey since about 2016, and we have had the opportunity to participate in the PBL Works initiative and have had great opportunities for that. So we have really challenged our schools to use that work with the graduate profile. And I will just say in Bullitt County, it's go big or go home, and that's kind of what we did with our graduate profile. And so first I want to introduce our teachers. Mr. Justin Peak, he is our ag, we don't have all the teachers represented that help work with our kids and all of our students, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves that we're able to put this on. But he is ag, and that room is awesome. All kinds of great stuff going on. And then where is Chef Witzel? We have Chef Justin Witzel, and he worked with our kids, and we didn't have an RSVP either on how many we're going to attend. So up to the last minute, it was 150, it was 200, it was 300. So they were working to serve all those meals. So I'm going to let them kind of take off and then have our students. So.
Good to meet you, Justin Peak. It was just my pleasure to be a part of the whole experience, and as a teacher, and just step back and let the kids take a big role in this, and I'll let them keep going.
Yeah, I think this actually started last spring whenever Mr. Peak planted the seed about starting a farm to table event for our school, and right off the bat, I mean, I was like, yeah, let's get going. So we were able to sit down last spring, start collaborating a little bit amongst ourselves before we got the students involved. And then once that took place, that's when the beginning of this school year, we got to actually get the students involved and then let Shukri take it.
Well, it's nice to meet you all. My name is Shukri Ali, and I'm on behalf of the Bullitt Central Agriculture Department. And tap the slide. So this is the first ever Bullitt Central Farm to Table dinner, and this was something that was really student-led. We are all really excited about it. We're passionate about it, and the goal for this was to build our relationship between all of our CTE programs, from culinary all the way down to art. Our goal of this was to bring the community back into the building. We've been missing them for the last 2 years, so we're happy to see them back. And what we were really basing off this event was the graduate profile. We tried to hit and learn all of these along the way. How did it start? Well, it was last year was an idea that my ag teacher brought up, and I thought it was a great idea. So I started talking about it around the school, and it happened to be at the time of our greenhouse sale. And community members were actually out in our greenhouse, and I talked to a few of them. I said, how would you feel if we did something like this? Would you like to come and support us? And they said, absolutely. So that fueled that fire, and I talked amongst the rest of our CTE departments, and well, we got it going, and it was beautiful. It was a great success.
So I'm Scarlett Spady. I'm the representative from the art department, and this is our project-based learning guide. Basically, we wanted to bring in the idea of community, authentic learning experience, and CTE collaboration, especially between our 5 programs that are represented here today. And then this is kind of just like a basic overview of some of the things that each department did individually, from raising the animals and growing the plants to cooking to displaying art and creating the ambience of the night with the music. Then this is just kind of our representation as far as our staff is concerned. This was the teachers that helped us plan and guide this event and basically gave us the basis for what we were starting with and let us grow as students and programs individually within the school.
So I'm Ethan McCovens. I'm from the business department. So we had the teachers and students, we all worked coherent all together. The bottom left is a commercial that we actually had to make. Bottom right were the tickets that you could buy, and you can learn more with that link. So we all had different responsibilities that we had to take on. Agriculture had to obtain the animals, carry the feed for them. Art obviously had to make the displays. Music had to obviously learn all the sheets that they were going to be performing. And then culinary had to make and prep the food. So this is the first step. The business department had to be very communicative, I think that's a word, with all the other departments. We all had to talk to them. Like, we reached out to the culinary side of things. We had to ask what kind of food they were going to be making, what should we be marketing, and what we were going to put on the ticket sales.
I'm Lila Cash. I'm the representative for the music department, and what we did as far as communication, we had to find out how much time we had to fill, and we had to work around the theme of the night.
I'm Joshua McChesney with the culinary department of Bold Central. We really had to communicate a lot with specifically the business department and the agriculture department, asking what we had to use and whatnot to make our dinner, and we had to figure out how many people that, even though the number kept on growing, we tried to figure out what we needed to make and how much we needed to make of it.
Well, agriculture, we took a different step. We went out into the community because after 2 weeks of feeding those chickens, we found out that they were going to eat our profits right into the ground. So we made phone calls to feed stores in the area. Southern states, they were a blessing to us. They offered to feed those chickens from the day to the end, you know, and we're very thankful for them. And as long with Lowe's, they donated the lumber for picnic tables that students built.
As far as the art department is concerned on this, our main thing was matching the theme of the night, giving it that upscale look with all of the art on display, and that was our main piece as far as communication was involved.
Problem solving, that is one thing I think a lot of us learned during this event, because problems are everywhere. I know on the agriculture side, fish. Every time I look at that word, I'm a little nervous. Tom Wainty donated 17 fish to us on a Friday. We put them in our tank, which previously had koi. We came back on Monday, all the fish upside down. What happened? They looked happy when we left. We found out after a lot of research, all the students got together, we researched, they didn't have enough air. We didn't have enough aerators, so we reached out in the community, we called Mr. Tom Wainty, we told him, air, what do we need to do? And he told us, he said, put more aerators. So we put more aerators, and he brought back more fish, and those fish were the fish we ate at that delicious dinner.
Art side, we were displaying a very large amount of artwork. We pulled a piece from every student within the art department, so Art 1, 2, 3, and our AP Art. And within that, you get a lot of diversity with your content. You've got canvases, you've got collages, you've got pieces of paper, drawings, paintings, all of it. And so we had to work through the process of displaying all of that in our limited space without making it look crowded. And with this, we got to use the art designs and principles that we learned in class to put it on display. And we got to kind of see how art is used in the real world in less of a art way. It's like in a display, a business situation, like how are you going to put this all forward and make it still appeasing?
So on the marketing side of things, we had to make a commercial. So we had to fly a drone into the school and go around and show all the aspects of it. So it was definitely very difficult to put that all together and edit it.
With music, we had about 2 hours of time to fill, and we only had about 13 pieces. So we had to figure out how we were going to fill that much time, because it's something that none of us had ever done before, and we ended up splitting into 2 groups with separate pieces, so that way we could perform more music. And
So, on the innovative problem solver, when we were doing a plating of all of our food, we had a lot of issues with time delays. So whenever we would have people coming in and they'd be figuring out, hey, we're getting people still coming in, it's 6 o'clock already. We had to figure out how we were going to keep the food nice and warm, nice and cool. So we had to figure out what time we need to start doing our food. We need to figure out how we're going to do it and how we're going to keep it still taste good and still be safe. Productive collaborator, this one. So the culinary department, we did a lot of collaborating between them, between the groups. Not as much with the arts ones, but we did a whole lot with agriculture. We were there almost on a bi-weekly basis, trying to figure out what was ready, what was going to be ready towards the end of it. And with the business department, we need to know how many people we got. If we have a growing number, we had to figure out, do we need to do 300 seats or we need to do 400 seats? And just a lot of collaboration between all of us.
Agriculture was lucky enough that we got to collaborate truly with every single department. Art, when we decided to grow quail, fish, and chicken, we decided we were going to go for more of an elegant night, so their art had to be adjusted around that. Business, we had to keep them updated on how big those birds are going to get and how many people we can really feed. And music, the same thing. We set that mood for the night, so it was a Christmas theme, so it's their music. And then culinary, we became best friends during this. I stopped there every single day. Say, hey, these birds are getting nice and big on us.
As far as collaboration went within the art program, not only us displaying artwork, we also designed the programs that were used for the night. So it included the menu and then the list of speakers, which is kind of key for any big event.
So yeah, we had to take, like he said, bits and pieces from everybody on the business side of things. We had to put it all together into like a pamphlet. So that's how we collaborated.
Like Trickery said, we had to work around the theme of the night, and we had to figure out where we were going to stand, how much space we had, and how long we had to go. So self-directed navigator, we had a lot of deadlines for this. For music especially, we had a lot more pieces than we ever normally learn, and we had a very short amount of time to learn them. So.
Alrighty. A little bit of a fun story about this one. While we were in the kitchen, chef was running around. He with the chicken, like he was the chicken with his head cut off. And there was a lot of times where some people would be delegated tasks and whatnot. There's a lot of times when you need a little bit of help, but you just can't get it because he's there and I'm here. And so, for example, when I was doing the polenta for our night, I had a little bit of issues with getting to him, so he just said, hey, this is what we got to do, and I used my current skills and whatnot to direct myself in the right way to get this polenta done, just barely on time. Okay.
So in agriculture, we had time management was a big one for us with those chickens. Those were Cornish X meat birds, and those things, you close your eyes, come back, they're already grown. And so you wanted to get that right-sized bird that was still tender and juicy for the community. And so we couldn't let them get too old, and we couldn't get them too young. So that time management, we had to perfect that on the dot, which I think we did a wonderful job.
Our main thing also was deadlines, putting up a large amount of pieces. You have to have that display set up at least 3 days in advance to make sure everything looks right, we know where it's going to be. And so then you're putting a very strict deadline on the artist, which art cannot be rushed.
Yeah, I think the time management and the deadlines were big for all of us. I know the business side of things, we had to calculate how many people were going to be there, and sometimes it was up here, and then all of a sudden people said they couldn't make it, so it was just a weird thing to try to get to the end of.
Community contributor. When we thought of this dinner, we think about community, community, community. That community is engraved in my brain now. We wanted to make that gap smaller between the community and the school. We wanted to bring them back into the school and show them what Bullitt Central is made of. We wanted to impress them. We wanted to show them that we could all work together to put this beautiful dinner to see a smile on their face. And that's what we did.
So even though this was about not only building the community within the school, but also reaching out I feel like the most impressive piece of community contribution would be within the school. There are now people that I can go up to in school that I never would have talked to before because of this event. For example, the people that are up here with me right now. I never would have went out of my way and talked to somebody in ag or somebody in culinary, but now I can because we work together on this event.
So yeah, like she said, meeting all these people was amazing. But also that night we had people coming up to us. We were the one collecting the money. So just seeing everybody coming in, like the diverse group of people, and just welcoming them and seeing how happy they were, it was pretty cool.
It was really cool to talk to people in the community and watch them as we performed. I really enjoyed performing for the community that we don't normally get to perform for.
Not only did we have the general community, a few different news stations actually came out to take videos of us doing stuff, as it says on their WDRB, but we also have like WLKY, Spectrum News, people like that. And it was really nice to see that even if it was just what I thought at the time was a small little thing that we did at our school that was so fun, it became a much larger thing that I can imagine it being, just by having so many people able to just show that out with the world, show what we can do.
As far as Mastery Learner, this is kind of us using those skills that we are learning in our CT pathways and putting them into a real life situation. So I know art, like we're taking those art design skills, like I said earlier, and we're getting to put them into action, not just in us creating the art, but also in us displaying the art and matching it to the mood and the feel of the night.
Mastery Learner, we learned that we don't all work exactly the same, and you have to find the middle ground in there to make things work. And that was something that we very much worked on with this event.
Yeah, so right before people started coming in, we had to work a tablet and how to take credit cards. So it's a little bit of a hassle trying to learn all that right before. So that was a big thing.
We had, like I said, more music than we've ever learned at one time in a very short amount of time. So we really had to put all the skills that we've learned to use to be able to get it done.
So everyone's heard the saying of a jack of all trades is a master of none. That's especially true in the culinary world. You need a team of people a lot of times, unless you're doing a trip, but that's a different story. But you need a team of people, and you need to not only be good at something, you need to be able to work within a team of good people that can help you get to your end.
The news. That was one that I got to experience firsthand, and I really enjoyed it. WDRB, they've been a blessing to us, and I got to go live on their studio on a Saturday. I woke up 4 o'clock in the morning, pack up the bags under the eyes, gotta look good. And I thought it was so cool how they do it. She would come up and try to talk to us, and then there's a guy in the back, he says 10 seconds, 5 seconds. When it gets to 3 seconds, she takes off running. And she comes right to the camera and she turns to me and she said, "Wasn't that fascinating?" And I was like, that is some good acting. I hope I can do it that good one day.